Alright, we're in the backyard. My neighbor just came over and nicely pointed out that I had a swarm flying around the backyard. So I walk out and I watch them go into this tree. I'm going to zoom in so you can see where they are. Right there. So you can see it's about at least 20 feet up in the air. And that's why I got out our swarm bucket. So we're going to take care of the swarm. Okay, so a little bit of complications here because I have a bad shoulder right now, and they're right at the maximum reach for our swarm bucket. Almost. Thinking about getting a ladder out, but don't really want to. That's more about the being able to see where the swarm is and navigating through the branches, because I don't really want to cut up our tree that much. So let's think about this a little bit more. Okay, just had to come in from a different angle. I'm gonna check out the bucket real quick. Hopefully I got the queen. Hopefully I got enough of the bees in there that I got the queen too, but I'm gonna go have a look now. I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I just saw the queen walking on the screen here. So I got very, very lucky because there's still a decent amount of bees up in that tree. So we're just gonna leave the bucket here. I'm gonna go in and finish eating, and we'll come back and check on them in a little while. we've got the swarm bucket under the shade of the tree that they were just in. And in that time, you can already see how many bees have come down from the tree. And you can see them all right here. That's where the mesh vent is on the side, and where I could see the queen walking around earlier. So what we want is this little red thing right there. Once we start seeing bees walk in there, we know we're good. They'll walk in, they won't be able to walk out, and then we've caught our swarm and we can put them in another box.
Here we see bees covering the mesh vent. Why are they here and not going into the bee escape? Well, some of the bees may have smelled the queen here since she was walking on the mesh earlier. All bees release pheromones from their tarsal glands. This is also known as footprint pheromones, but the queen's pheromones are very distinct. And once a few bees know where she is, they start telling the rest of the swarm by using their nasonoph glands. You'll know when bees are doing this because they'll stick their butts, or their abdomens, up in the air and fan their wings really fast. Doing this sends out another pheromone, but this one tells the rest of the bees where their home is, even if it's only temporary. You may even smell a lemony scent if you see several bees releasing this nasonoph pheromone. There's even a commercially available liquid that's been produced to replicate the scent that many beekeepers use to encourage swarms into traps. Swarm Commander is one of these products. Other beekeepers may even use lemongrass oil. Lemongrass oil does smell similar. It's generally cheaper and easier to find, but the pheromones in a hive are much more complex. And the commercially made lures are arguably closer to that formula. Walking up to a swarm of bees and smelling lemon, that's a great sign. But if you're walking up to that swarm and you smell bananas, be warned, because Koshechnikov gland is also known as the alarm pheromone. And many people, myself included, have smelled bananas when they release that pheromone. There are many other pheromones that signal different things within the hive, such as if there's no queen, or if an egg's marked to be fed only royal jelly, which would result in a queen. Queens are fed royal jelly for their entire lives. Worker bees and drones are only fed royal jelly for the first 3 days. In addition to her special diet, the queen also never feeds herself. She has a retinue of worker bees that do that for her, as well as clean her. because she focuses only on laying eggs, about 2,000 every single day. When do you know you have a swarm and not an established hive? Well, the bees typically will not have any pollen on them. They'll be very calm and may even seem a little weighed down. In preparation of swarming, bees will actually fill their honey stomachs. This ensures they'll have enough food to move into their new house and get set up. The bees don't just go shopping for furniture like we do. All of their food and babies need honeycomb, and it takes a lot of hard work to build. Bees have to actually consume between 6 and 8 pounds of honey for every 1 pound of wax made. This red object in the bucket lid is called a bee escape. It is essentially a funnel for the bees. They can easily walk in, but would have a rather difficult time getting out. The small end that is inside the bucket is about 6 to 8 millimeters wide, which will accommodate one bee. The larger end that's flush with the lid is about 22 millimeters wide to allow several bees access. If you'd like to see how we made this swarm bucket, please check out our video in the description below.
We just installed, and really this traffic here doesn't mean a whole lot. We kept the smallest entrance. There we go. We keep the smallest entrance for when we first just install them so that the queen smell and the entire colony smell can fill up the hive, and then it becomes their home. Because remember, they communicate partially through smell because of all the different pheromones, and what we want is we want them to climb all over the inside and outside of this hive and say, this is our hive, this is where we belong. If you leave it completely open, they may choose that there's a different hive in the area that's better than the one that they're currently in. And honestly, on our property there might be, but we're gonna try and keep them in this hive. It's painted, looks nice, so we choose you as the sourwood hive. So we'll keep you updated on what happens with this hive. You'll see more trophallaxis right there at the top, and that's where bees will transfer nectar from one to another, or it could be water or anything else, but really it's a transfer of substances between one bee to another, and then they'll go inside and set up the wax or drop the nectar into the wax frames. So just wanted to show you what that looks like and why it looks so busy. I would say if somebody's telling you, hey, close up the hive instantly when you install your bees, you could do that, but don't use a reducer like this. Try and just put a screen. And remember, if you do put a screen, you got to make sure it's sealed up nice and tight around the edges, because they will find their way out. But in this case, I just did the tiny hole there. If they choose a different hive on this property or end up in the tree, that's fine. I'll just go get them. We keep a pretty good eye out during the spring, always looking in the backyard, trying to see what's different. And that's the key to finding swarms in your backyard or just in the country in general, is I've driven by this spot many times. What's now different? And you'll start noticing clumps of bees all over the place that you wouldn't have noticed before. So we'll keep you updated on these guys, and we'll let you know if they made it. They were about softball size when we grabbed them and installed them. So I went ahead, and this is a 5-frame nuke. I love when I install them, I just put a second box on. So I'll take 3 frames out of this box, dump the bees in. That way they can crawl down onto these frames in the bottom box. And then if I so choose, I can take the top box off and then put the top on. But it gives them a chance to melt down into the bottom box, vice putting a frame on them and waiting for the frame to kind of settle out. That way I can just stick frames back in and instantly close it up. It gives it more space for them to, get their pheromones and smell. But it'll be fine, especially since we install these guys in the evening. So there's a better chance that they'll stay in the box because they're not going to leave during the night. That's not bees' MO. So early in the morning, yes, that's their MO. But here in our apiary, Northeastern North Carolina, about 10 o'clock is when we start seeing big booming activity from all our hives. So, and that might just be because of all this clover that we have out.
Here we have the swarm the very next day. They're all nestled in their hive box with normal traffic at the entrance. If you have any questions, leave us a comment. Like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications.